Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are going to be going over my personal top 10 must-haves for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So stick around, guys. If you are interested in learning how to fly the A320, consider checking out my Overkill's A320 guide. This guide is available on either my Patreon site or via PayPal donation. PayPal donation, $10 or more. Just be sure to specify which guide you're looking for, as I have more than one. Patreon site, tier 2 or above, again, $10 a month, but that gives you access to all the guides that I currently have available, and then all that are coming in the future. My A320 guide walks you through how to install the A32NX mod by Flybywire. For those who don't know, the A32NX mod takes the default A320 Microsoft Flight Simulator and brings its functionality and features up to what I would consider study level simulation, and it's all completely free. So be sure to check that out. This guide walks you through everything from creating your flight plan into SimBrief, reading your flight plan in SimBrief, entering your flight plan in Microsoft Flight Simulator if that's how you choose to do so in the main menu or in the main map, full cockpit tours, walking through every button, switch, etc., letting you guys know where all the different panels and what the different options are, different displays on the screen and icons and things that you may experience while in flight and what they mean and how to read them and interpolate the information being displayed, the preliminary checklist before starting up the aircraft, taxi, takeoff, navigation, your altitude management, features of the MCDU that aren't related specifically to the A320 but are available because of Flybywire and their efforts, how to break down a flight route, understanding what you're looking at so you can take this information, use it in future flights, rather than just copying and pasting information that you're seeing on a screen or on a document, how to acquire some more information that's provided in the A320, specifically the A32NX. The different gauges, again, understanding what you're looking at versus just, powering up and going, getting some of that background information to solidify your flight, looking at approach plates, departure plates, SIDS, stars, all those things that we have to consider when doing an IFR flight, managing your descent, when to start your descent, as well as the approach and giving you goals of where you want to be at specific points, and even the missed approach. For shutdown, we go through the startup or the cold and dark and the turnaround status. So again, if you guys are interested in a guide like this and interested in learning how to fly the A320, consider donating or subscribing to Patreon to acquire your guide. All right, so as I was saying there, we are going to be going over what I believe are the top 10 must-have mods, add-ons, enhancements, etc. for Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're going to have a couple of paywares, but most of these are freeware. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting out with this beautiful aircraft we are staring at right here. This is the Flybywire A32NX or A320 modification, if you will, and this aircraft is absolutely fantastic. If we step into the cockpit, you can see all the textures have been customized. They have been built from the ground up. All the buttons, switches, and etc. all work in this aircraft. I think there's only maybe a handful that aren't modeled, if that's still the case. There's a couple there, but for the most part, it is a fully functional, fully modeled aircraft. You also get the enhancement of having this fly pad here that is not available in the default aircraft. It's also very important to remember that the default A320 has very, very limited functionality, even with the cockpit switches and buttons, etc. Now, the FlyPad offers full integration with SimBrief and Navigraph. So you can create your flight plan in SimBrief, pull it from SimBrief, and all the information will populate here. This is actually my last flight that I took. It was actually the TBM-930, but still, it still works to show you guys. We can come down here and you can see an overview of all the aircraft's max weights. You have your operational flight plan directly from SimBrief right here at the ready for you. Fuel, you can either do a custom loading out each wing and tank individually, or you can do a full load and max it out all at once, or set it at once. You can also set your fuel time. These are great customizations. All of your ground services are right here at the ready for you. Even the pushback. A top of descent calculator if you need that, as well as landing performance information that you can enter in and get all of your MEDAR information at the ready right here. So this is extremely handy piece of software here. And here we have the link to Navigraph charts. You do need to use your either a QR scanner or load into a browser manually and enter in the code that it's asking for. We also have VATSIM connection information ready and available for you guys. You can see where all the different controllers currently are set up for VATSIM. And finally, you have system failures beginning to be implemented. Red for failure, green for golden. But this aircraft just continues to develop again and again and again in absolutely wonderful ways. It is a true joy to fly. The fly-by-wire modeling is absolutely perfect. They keep blowing me away with this aircraft. Even if you're someone who doesn't currently fly the jetliners, I highly recommend getting into it for no other reason than to fly this aircraft. It is so much fun and completely free. All right, so that is number 1 on my list of things to get. Coming in on my list of number 2, and just recently hit that list, by the way, is FS2 Crew's Pushback Express. This software is absolutely I'm so stoked that I had it. I checked out the most recent update, and this thing is wonderful. So what does Pushback Express do? Let's launch it and find out. All right, so this tiny little interface is Pushback Express. It has a ton of features, including your ability to control all of the ground surfaces. We can see there's the jetway rolling up. Let's pull this back up for just a second here. I'm actually going to pin it and lock it in place. That should make it pop back up. There we go.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight tech.
Confirm all ground checks complete. We're cleared to pressurize the hydraulics.
All ground checks are complete, and you are clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Nice little features like that. You have your catering, you have your stairs, you have your baggage, you can open the doors, your power unit, fuel trucks, all of the things that the typical pushback helpers do. However, one of the things that I truly enjoy about this particular mod is the voice control. So let's go ahead and get that jetway back out of here. We've got to wait for the door to close. There it goes. And just to simulate the experience here, you can set up a push-to-talk, or you can just use voice activation. We are using a push-to-talk today, so let's go ahead and check it out. Cockpit to ground. Okay, so the problem was actually my fault. I had this set to button control instead of voice control. So let's check that yet again. So we're going to close this window. Flight deck to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We will be ready shortly.
Roger.
And you can now see the tug is pulling up. We could simulate that we were starting, everything was starting, we're ready for pushback. And we're just waiting, giving the tug a second to connect. We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
There it goes. Brakes released.
Pushing back.
Are we clear to start engine 1? Are we clear to start engine 1? Are we clear to start engine 2? Are we cleared to start engine 2?
You are cleared to start engine 2.
And here we would simulate starting the engine. Stop pushback.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the left side with the pin.
You can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
And the nice thing about is you can see the application just faded out and it's actually closing on the desktop. It will actually shut down completely. And there it goes. Now, you guys heard me say, had to repeat things a few times. It's just like anything else. You have to use the Microsoft Voice Trainer. Get it used to recognizing your words and how you speak. This is only my first day of using it since I purchased it quite a long time ago, actually now. When it first released, I used it once and then honestly quite forgot about it. But trust me, if you slow down, I'm also talking a bit fast. I'm excited. You know, I get that I do that. You speak slow, clear, and calm, and it gets it every single time. It is a fantastic addition. I love this mod, or this application, I should say. So it does come with a price. Right now, though, it is on sale, $14.99 on their website, euros, I believe that is. but definitely worth every penny of it, especially for VR users who are looking for every way to save that immersion. VATSIM users, you're already using voice communication, so again, you're less likely to want to deal with the third-party applications that require you to manually control the tug and etc. So it really does add a lot. Let me know what you guys think down in the description below. The next one on my list is no stranger to my channel, and that is the TBM-930 Improvement Mod by Mixmugs. This modification brings so much to this aircraft. This link can be found in the description below for your download, but you can also come here and take a look at some of the changes that are done on this aircraft. Performance changes which make it much closer to real world specifications, as well as some bug fixes, and obviously some new features such as the doors opening. And for me, that's a huge one. I love things like that. I've mentioned it many times. Those little immersion add-ons just add a little bit more to the simulation that really makes it fun. Not only can you open and close doors, you actually have to be sure to lock them just to make sure that you are on the safe side. Pilots and co-pilots can be removed. As you can see, you have full reign of the cockpit itself. You can create some really awesome custom views. Co-pilots can be, again, removed. Visors can be brought up and down. Just little things like that that truly add a lot to your simulation experience. Not to mention the TBM-930 is probably... Actually, there's no answer for buts. It is my favorite aircraft to fly. It's like a Lamborghini in the sky. Again, this mod is 100% completely free, and the TBM-930 comes with the base version of MSFS. So I highly recommend you guys give it a shot. If not, I promise you are missing out. Next aircraft on our list with a modification is an aircraft that brings a lot of controversy with Microsoft Flight Simulator, as it has become that bird that you either love it or you hate it. One of the biggest issues with this aircraft is the default rendition of it, as it is very poorly modeled. Unfortunately, the flight dynamics are way off, which is why someone took it upon themselves to fix that little mistake. Which brings us here. This is the Asobo Cessna Citation Longitude Flight Dynamics Modifications Project. This is another one of those absolutely must-have flight modifications for this particular aircraft, as it brings the aircraft again closer to what we would expect from real-world specifications. Now, much of the information about this aircraft is actually kept under very tight lid, as it is relatively new. However, the things that it fixes is a lot of the performance issues up in the air that you would notice right away, and again would be a severe immersion breaker. It also does come with two versions of the mod. If you are an on-air pilot, and on-air is a career mode, if you will, add-on that is available for Microsoft Flight Simulator, then it actually has its own version. If you are not familiar with on-air, then you will be wanting to use the version that is titled here. However, again, the Cessna Citation Longitude is actually a very fun aircraft to fly once you include this flight dynamics modification and learn how to fly her. She is a beast, she's fast, she's a bullet, she's temperamental, but she is a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check this one out. Next on our list is none other than Rex Real Global Airport Textures. This is a payware software that can be found for $17.95 US using the link down in the description below. Rex has actually done a very fantastic job with this particular mod. As you can see here, what it does is adds incredible enhancement to the ground textures. Everything from texturing to wear spots, dirt, grime, etc. down on the taxiways, parking lines, and runways. With the runways, you can actually choose to use a more lightly used runway or a heavy used runway, depending on what airfield you're kind of going for and what kind of look you're going for. There's also an option with all the taxi lines and parking lines to make them look brand new or old and in need of a little bit of TLC. So it is, again, a very fantastic mod. This works globally. I have not seen any issue with it working with third-party add-ons or sceneries. However, sometimes the sceneries, depending on how they may lay on top of it. So worst case scenario, you just may lose that texture enhancement, but that's probably what you're getting from the scenery itself. As you can see here, I have picked the newer clean version on the runway markings to indicate that we just repainted our runway. Given the fact that it's Tucson, Arizona, my hometown, I figured that I had to show her some love and give her a nice clean paint job. Showing that the runway had been lightly used, you guys will see that up here. That's the markings that I'm using here, as Tucson is not as busy as most international airports, if you will, but you can see what I'm talking about here. So here's a lot of the markings, again, simulating, pretending, if you will, that the airport was just recently repainted and that it has a new runway. So light usage on it goes in line with the light or the new paint markings. But if you wanted to, certainly you could make this very, very heavily used with much, much more tire wear and tire markings on your runways. So again, it's really nice to have that customization. $17.95, I think it's absolutely worth the price, given that there is absolutely no frame loss that I can detect when using this modification, and it makes the airports look much, much cleaner and much more uniform all the way across. No longer any gaps or changes in color and texturing at most of the airports that I have been to while using this add-on. Let me know what you guys think if you have it down in the comments below. The next mod I want to talk to you guys about, or excuse me, application I want to talk to you guys about, is called Mobile Companion. This is an absolutely fantastic tool. Now I'm going to show you guys what it first looks like, and then we'll show you where to get it. So this can be put up on anything that has a browser and is attached to your Wi-Fi network, or network I should say, whether it's wired or not. So you can use this on your cell phone, you can use this on your Kindle, on your laptop, doesn't matter. Anything that has a browser that you can reach the necessary IP address. Be my guest and copy this if you want. It's a local IP address. It's not going to get you anywhere. I always get a comment about showing IPs. Anyway, there could be 1,000 more computers with that IP address out there. Anyway, so what it does here is you can cycle through the pot. Obviously, we have the flight map, obviously very handy. Navigation, you have all your nav comms. You have your radios. You have your autopilot controls. Everything can be typed in and triggered at will. You have your autopilot or your lights panel. You can trigger your lights instantly. We can change your spoilers, your gear, flaps, you name it, and data. And finally, the options. You can actually control the sim rate. You can pause the sim and still maintain ability to manipulate the controls if you wanted to, and then when you unpause it, whatever manipulation you made will take effect. You can speed up the time. Again, it's just absolutely fantastic. It has a bunch of pre-existing profiles for certain aircraft that you can select automatically if you wish, to make it more easy to understand how the controls are laid out. I absolutely love this. I highly recommend it for those really long flights where maybe you want to get up and walk around. That's where your map will come in handy. You know, be able to determine where you are in relationship to your destination. If you're doing recordings or doing screenshots, things like that, the ability to pause really comes in handy. And again, just being able to control the overall aircraft, it makes it a lot easier sometimes than trying to deal with the mouse and figure everything out that way. Sometimes the Mobile Companion is really the way to go without breaking too much of the immersion. It's really, really nice piece of software. So now let me show you where to get it. Alright, so it can be found once again on our lovely FlightSim.2's website. And again, you can scroll down and see a full features of everything that is currently listed down here. The developer has done a great job with keeping it up to date, even with all the craziness that's been going on with Sim Update 5. You can see that compatibility with it was confirmed. Again, very, very awesome piece of software. Highly recommend you guys have this completely free of charge, and link is down in the description below. And this brings us to our next one. This is called SkyDolly. SkyDolly is an incredibly awesome application that gives us the ability to not only record our flights, play them back, but we can also save locations. You can see each time you hit the record button, it creates an entry point that can be loaded later on in different aircraft. It saves your aircraft configuration, what type of aircraft you were in, what the livery was, your location. You can change the playback speed. You can back it up if you wish to get back to a certain location if there's something that you want to take a cool screenshot of. You can save approaches and landings, specific locations in space where maybe you'd like to come back and try again without having to fly a whole pattern. You can do formation flight, creates basically duplicates of the same recording and allows you to fly formation with that particular aircraft. It has a ton of functionality and once again is completely free. Now I can't stress enough, I have tried not one, not two, but I think 3 of these aircraft recording softwares that just don't match up to SkyDolly. SkyDolly absolutely blows them all away, and again, it is completely 100% free of charge. Link to this down in the description below. The next one I wanted to make sure got on this list is the High Performance Group's H-135 helicopter. This helicopter was developed at a time where Microsoft Flight Simulator didn't support helicopters at all. And somehow they managed to make it work, and not only make it work, but turn into an absolutely fantastic addition to this simulator. Stepping into the cockpit, everything was very nicely modeled. They are actually currently working on a payware version on the H145, but this particular version is 100% completely free. You can see it is modeled fairly nicely given the fact that it's free. I love the detail work that's been done on many of the aspects of this aircraft. It has different performance mode based on your skill. Oops, there we go. Sorry, not paying attention to flying as much as I should be, as I'm paying attention trying to show you guys this aircraft. It is absolutely a ton of fun. I can't stress that enough. Even flew it tonight on my stream. This aircraft is an absolute blast, and I think you guys would truly enjoy it. It's great for both the beginner and the more advanced to intermediate helicopter pilot. Again, as always, link in the description below. Alright, so almost done with our list here. Next one is the Microsoft Flight Simulator Community Downloader. This is another mod management tool, if you will, but it focuses primarily on aircraft enhancements and additions. The neat part about this is you can actually add packages directly from GitHub as long as you have the source available. Now, I haven't played with this feature yet. I like it just as it is so far. Does everything I need to do, but allows you again to easily remove and install mods at will. Also tells you the release date and the latest version. One of the other cool things that's really awesome about this is you can actually determine what directory it installs into, and we're going to get into why this is very awesome in just a minute here. But I highly recommend this. It's again a very effective, very efficient way of managing your mods and getting the latest information on updates that are currently available without surfing all over the internet. Link down in the description below. And finally, last on our list is the Addons Linker. Now, there are a couple of different softwares that do this, such as Modman FX. I don't have anything against any of them at all. My preference is just Addons Linker, and I think just because I've been using it from the start. What I really enjoy about Addons Linker is the ability to set up folders and break things down in a very concise and easy way to manage. It makes it very easy to troubleshoot issues with certain mods and add-ons, compatibility issues. Sometimes one mod affects another mod or an add-on, etc. You can remove one at a time. You can create presets based on that information. If you have certain sceneries and certain aircraft that you want loaded at a specific time, but you don't want to load them all. For example, if you load all of your sceneries all at once, especially if you have a whole bunch of them, you'll find that your load time into Microsoft Flight Simulator can take much longer, as well as it tends to generate, in our current situation, significantly more crash to desktops. However, all in all, this is a absolutely fantastic addition. I love the way that the interface is laid out and how easy it is to remove and add your add-ons. You can add all of them that are currently on the list by clicking this checkbox. You can remove all of them here by hitting the X, all in with a single click of a button. Now, one of my favorite parts about this, again, is talking about the file structure. Here's where my mods directory is and where it's installed. Okay, that community downloader that we looked at previously is actually pointing to this directory. Okay, all of my aircraft get installed here, and then I use Addons Linker to actually add them to the simulator. One of the cool things about the way this particular software works is it creates a shortcut into the community directory without actually making a physical copy of it. The reason why that benefits us is because it doesn't add any additional hard drive usage. Okay, you maintain the same space usage, but you can very easily add in your mods and add-ons. It also makes it very, very nice when updating mods and add-ons, as you don't have to remove them from Addons Linker if you're just doing an update, because all that's happened is it created a shortcut into the directory. Basically tells the directory, look over here to find the mod. So again, very, very efficient way to manage your add-ons, very, very efficient way to manage your UI adjustments and mods. I really, really enjoy this. I think it's a fantastic piece of work and highly recommend this one above probably all else to anyone who's interested in adding any extra community creations. I hope you guys have enjoyed this list, and by all means, down in the comments below, let me know what your favorite mods and add-ons and enhancements are, and allow me to check them out, and maybe they'll appear on the next list. I hope you folks all have a wonderful week, and I will catch you, as always, in the next one.